Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to the 11th episode of podcast in the series of Saints of India. At the outset, my sincere thanks and namaskarams to hindujagrati.org for giving me permission to use the information that is available in their portal. Other sites which have been referred are wikipedia.com, britannica.com, 6.org. Any addition or omission may graciously be pardoned. Guru Gobind Singh Ji was born Gobind Rai in Patna, Bihar in India, and was the 10th and last of the 10 human form gurus of Sikhs. Guru Gobind Singh became Guru on November 24, 1675 at the age of 9, following in the footsteps of his father Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. He was a leader of the Sikh faith, a warrior, a poet, and a philosopher. In the Sikh society, Guru Gobind Singh is considered a perfect example of manhood, highly educated, skilled in horsemanship, armed combat, chivalrous, and generous in character. Guru Gobind Singh was born as Gobind Rai in Patna to Guru Tegh Bahadur and his wife Mata Gujari. He was born while Guru Tegh Bahadur was touring Assam to spread his teachings. It was here that Gobind Rai was born to Mata Gujari in 1666. It is said that Pir Bhikan Shah approached a child and offered 2 bowls of milk and water, signifying both the great religions of Hinduism and Islam. The child smiled and placed his hands on both bowls. The Pir bowed in utter humility and reverence to the new prophet of all humanity. Guru Gobind Singh was born with a holy mission, of which he tells us in his autobiography Bachitar Nata. Guruji describes the purpose of his coming to this world and why he emerged from the supreme reality in human form to carry out his Creator's command. For this purpose was I born. Let all virtuous people understand. I was born to advance righteousness, to emancipate the good, and to destroy all evildoers' root and branch. Punjab state is endowed with a unique history from Vedic era to Mahabharata period. Mughals, sultans had totally crushed Punjab state by onslaughts which lasted for about 400 years. To save Punjab from this onslaught, Sikh sect came into existence due to foresight of Guru Nanak. To counter this unjust attack, 10 gurus of Sikhs fought fiercely against the invaders. Guru Gobind Singh is 10th and last guru of Sikh sect. His birth anniversary falls on January 5th. When Guru Gobind Singh was stationed at Alamapur, Aurangzeb sent 2 of his knights, Pendle Khan and Dinabeg, there with an army. Their policy was to avoid the battle in proper Alamapur as far as possible. All the Sikhs accosted Pendle Khan on the way and started fighting with him with a vengeance. Guru Gobind Singh killed Pendle Khan by shooting an arrow through his temple. Similarly, injured Dinabeg had to run away. As a last resort, Aurangzeb cut off the food supply to Alamapur from the kings of Bhota, Kulu, Kaintal, Chamba, Dadwal, and Srinagar. But Sikhs fiercely resisted even this calamity. At last, this cold war ended with the mediation of King of Basali. When Aurangzeb realized that Guru of Sikhs would not surrender, he dispatched a large army under the leadership of Wazir Khan to Anandpur. While fighting with him, many Sikhs got killed in the war. Sikhs also killed many Muslim soldiers. On that occasion, Sikhs had to beat a retreat against the might of Mughal army. Due to strict siege laid around Anandpur, the stock of food stored there started getting exhausted. Due to starvation, some good horses and a famous elephant, Prasadi, also died. Guru Gobind Singh and his family members were also compelled to endure starvation, but he was not ready to leave Anandpur. At last, Wazir Khan promised impunity to everyone in Anandpur on the orders of Aurangzeb. Guru Gobind Singh was aware that the promise made by Mughals was never kept. At last, he escaped the siege with his family members in the night of December 6, 1705. Before leaving, he destroyed as many goods as possible. Mughal army chased Guru Gobind Singh and first skirmish took place on the bank of river Shirasa. Famous knight Bhai Uday Singh was killed in the skirmish. On crossing the river Shirasa, Guru Gobind Singh reached Chamkaur and took shelter along with his family members in the fort there. Mughal army also chased him and laid siege to this fort. The situation became very serious. Guru Gobind Singh and his family members were unarmed. Similarly, there was an acute shortage of food items. His two elder sons, Ajit Singh and Zulzir Singh, were martyred in an effort to break the siege. Guru Gobind Singh escaped along with his three trusted Sikh colleagues, Bhai Daya Singh, Dharam Singh and Man Singh. At the end, Guru Gobind Singh also got separated from these three Sikhs and was left alone. He had no army, bodyguards, wealth and friends with him, but he did not desert his pride. He was held up in the forest of Machivara. His clothes were torn. He had no footwear. He used to sleep with a flat stone as a pillow. Nawab Afzal Khan took the wife Mata Sahib Kaur and two younger sons of Guru Gobind Singh into custody and gave them option either to get killed or converted. At that time, both the sons were younger than 10 years, but they flatly refused to get converted. Nawab Baji Khan killed both the sons by entombing them live in the wall. The grandmother of the boys died due to shock following this incident. Due to death of all her four sons, Mother Gujari became very sad. It is said that Mother Gujari had asked Guru Gobind Singh, "Where are my sons?" Guru Gobind Singh replied vividly while pointing out to all his Sikh disciples, "All these are your sons only." Mughals committed a horrendous act of killing Zorawar Singh and Fateh Singh on 12/12/1705 by entombing them in a wall. Within a period of only 5 years, Banda Singh attacked Sirhind and on completely defeating Mughals killed Wazir Khan. During the period of this war, Guru Gobind Singh had to sacrifice his entire family for independence. Guru Gobind Singh held an open-air diwan in Kesgarh Sahib at Anandpur. The Guru drew his sword and in a thundering voice said, "I want one head. Is there anyone who can offer me?" Guru Gobind Singh's such most unusual call caused some terror in the gathering and the people were stunned. There was dead silence. The Guru made a second call. Nobody came forward. There was still more silence. On the third call, there raised Dayaram, a Khatri of Lahore, who said, "O true king, my head is at your service." Guru Gobind Singh took Dayaram by the arm and led him inside a tent. A blow and thud were heard. Then the Guru, with his sword dripping with blood, came out and said, "I want another head. Is there anyone who can offer?" Again on third call, Dharam Das, a Jat from Delhi, came forward and said, "O true king, my head is at thy disposal." Guru Gobind Singh took Dharam Das inside the tent. Again a blow and thud were heard, and he came out with his sword dripping with blood and repeated, "I want another head. Is there any beloved Sikh who can offer it?" Upon this, some people in the assembly remarked that the Guru had lost all reason and went to his mother to complain. Mohkam Chand, a calico printer tailor of Dwaraka, offered himself as a sacrifice. The Guru took him inside the tent and went through the same process. When he came out, he made a call for the fourth head. The Sikhs began to think that he was going to kill all of them. Some of them ran away and the others hung their heads down in disbelief. Himmat Chand, a cook of Jagannath Puri, offered himself as a fourth sacrifice. Then the Guru made a fifth and the last call for a fifth head. Sahib Chand, a barber of Bidar, came forward and the Guru took him inside the tent. A blow and thud were heard. The last time, he stayed longer in the tent. People began to breathe with relief. They thought maybe the Guru has realized his mistake and has now stopped. Guru Gobind Singh now clad his 5 volunteers in splendid garments. They had offered their heads to the Guru, and the Guru had now given them himself and his glory. When they were brought outside, they were in the most radiant form. Now people were sorry for not offering their heads. Guru Gobind Singh put pure water into an iron vessel or bowl and stirred it with a khanda. While stirring the water with khanda, he recited Gurbani. The 5 banis, Japji, Jap Sahib, Anand Sahib, Swayas, and Chaupai. Sugar crystals called patasas, which incidentally the Guru's wife Mata Sahib Kaur had brought at that moment, were mixed in the water. Guru Gobind Singh then stood up with the sacred Amrit prepared in the iron bowl. Each of the 5 faithful by turn, each kneeling upon his left knee, looked up to the Master to receive the divine Amrit. He gave 5 palmfuls of Amrit to each of them to drink and sprinkled it 5 times in the eyes, asking them to repeat aloud with each sprinkle, Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. Then he anointed with 5 sprinkles in the hair. In this way, Amrit was administered to the 5 faithful from the same bowl. After that, he asked them to sip Amrit from the same bowl to signify their initiation into the casteless fraternity of the Khalsa. All the 5 faithful were baptized in this way by the Guru, who then called them the Panch Pyare or 5 beloved ones. Guru Gobind Singh gave them the appellation of Singhs, and they were named from Dayaram to Daya Singh, Dharam Das to Dharam Singh, Mohkam Chand to Mohkam Singh, Himmat Chand to Himmat Singh, and Sahib Chand to Sahib Singh. The Guru then addressed them as the supreme, the liberated ones, pure ones, and he called them the Khalsa. He then ordained them to do the following. First, they must wear the following articles whose names begin with K. Kesh, unshorn hair. This represents the natural appearance of sainthood. This is the first token of Sikh faith. Kanga, a comb to clean the hair. Kacha, an underwear to indicate virtuous character. Kada, an iron bracelet on the wrist, a symbol of dedication to the divine bridegroom. Kirpan, a sword symbolizing dignity, power, and unconquerable spirit. They must observe the following guidelines: not to remove hair from the body, not to use tobacco or other intoxicants, not to eat or touch kutta meat of an animal, not to commit adultery, never enjoy, even in dream, the bed of a woman other than your own wife. They must rise at dawn, bathe, meditate on Guru Mantar Vaheguru, Mool Mantar, the preamble of Japji, and recite 5 banis, Japji, Jap Sahib, and Swayas in the morning, Reras in the evening, and Kirtan Sohela at bedtime at night. They must not worship idols, cemeteries, or cremation grounds and must believe only in one immortal God. The Guru further spelled out that they should practice arms and never show their backs to the foe in the battlefield. They should always be ready to help the poor and protect those who sought their protection. They were to consider their previous caste erased and deem themselves all brothers of one family. Sikhs were to intermarry among themselves. The creation of the Khalsa was the greatest work of the Guru. He created a type of Superman, a universal man of God, casteless and countryless. The Guru regarded himself as a servant of the Khalsa. He said, "To serve them pleases me the most. No other service is so dear to my soul." The Khalsa was a spearhead of resistance against tyranny. He completed the composition of the Guru Granth Sahib, which is a collection of hymns describing the qualities of God. The Granth contains the teachings of the 10 Sikh Gurus and is regarded the holy scripture of the Sikhs. Guru Gobind Singh affirmed the sacred text as his successor and passed on the spiritual leadership to the holy text. Aurangzeb died in 1707 and immediately a succession struggle began between his sons who attacked each other. The official successor was Bahadur Shah, who invited Guru Gobind Singh with his army to meet him in person in the Deccan region of India for a reconciliation. But Bahadur Shah then delayed any discussions for months. Wazir Khan, a Muslim army commander, and the Nawab of Sirhind, against whose army the Guru had fought several wars, commissioned two Afghans, Jamshed Khan and Wasil Beg, to follow the Guru's army as it moved for the meeting with Bahadur Shah and then assassinate the Guru. The two secretly pursued the Guru, whose troops were in the Deccan area of India, and entered the camp when the Sikhs had been stationed near river Godavari for months. They gained access to the Guru, and Jamshed Khan stabbed him with a fatal wound at Nanded. Some scholars state that the assassin who killed Guru Gobind Singh may not have been sent by Wazir Khan, but was instead sent by the Mughal army that was staying nearby. According to Senapati Sri Guru Shobha, an early 18th century writer, the fatal wounds of the Guru was one below his heart. The Guru fought back and killed the assassin, while the assassin's companion was killed by the Sikh guards as he tried to escape. The Guru died of his wounds a few days later on 7th October 1708. His death fueled a long and bitter war of the Sikhs with the Mughals. Thank you for listening to this podcast in the series of Saints of India. If you'd like to support this cause of mine, you may contribute through patreon.com, the link for which is given in the description. Sri Gurubhyo Namah.